DICE dropped Season 2 today, and with it, they announced recoil changes across a lot of weapons. Today, I'm going to break down these changes and, more importantly, highlight what's actually been buffed so far. Ladies and gentlemen, this is GhostX. Welcome back to another video, and let's get started. So DICE mentioned that they made multiple recoil adjustments to a wide range of guns. Some of these ended up being straight up nerfs, some are more of a trade-off or neutral kind of changes, and a good number of them were supposed to be buffed, or making them stronger or at least more consistent. I went ahead and focused my testing mainly on the buffed category, specifically the important ones, and I want to share what I actually noticed in real gameplay. Starting with the first one, the M43 assault rifle. This assault rifle has been to go for AR for almost every mode and map in the game, and as you know, a lot of players have been running it. At baseline, it's already a solid weapon, to be honest with you, but before the update, it had a noticeable drift to the right side, at least from my experience. Now, at a close range, it honestly feels almost the same, nothing crazy here, but where I do notice the difference is at mid and long range. I would say the stability feels slightly better. However, this is not some massive buff. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's enough that I feel more comfortable using the M433 on larger maps now. Before this update, I usually avoided taking it to the big maps because once you hit longer distances, the damage drop-off combined with the recoil just made it feel inconsistent. After these changes, it feels a bit more controlled and a bit more reliable at range, to be honest with you. Again, it's a small buff. You might feel it, you might not, but it's there. The second one is actually the B36A4. This assault rifle was already pretty solid at baseline, and honestly, it's been one of the top 3 ARs over the past few weeks. What DICE did here was, kind of reduce the recoil randomness, which basically translates to better long-range consistency. And that's exactly what I experience. I could tell you there was a difference in today's gameplay, but again, this is very minor change. That said, it was still more noticeable than what we saw with the M433. At a close range, it feels almost identical. At very long range, the recoil is still a bit unpredictable, but starting at mid range, you can feel the added consistency kicking in. And at a long range, if you switch to burst fire, it actually performs pretty well. So overall, this one definitely did get a recoil randomness reduction. It's subtle, but it's there. Now, the weapon that improved the most after these changes, in my opinion, is the M417A2 carbine. DICE said they reduced its recoil randomness and to keep it competitive after the AR buffs, and honestly, I agree with that reasoning. At mid-range, this gun feels way better than before, and to me, this one is actually noticeable. At long range, burst fires is still key if you want consistent hits. I didn't find it suddenly amazing at long distances, but it definitely more controllable than it used to be. And at a close range, it was already good even before the update, so no surprises there. What really makes the M417A2 more competitive now is the combination of higher damage balanced with a slow fire rate, and in my opinion, that trade-off makes more sense after the recoil changes, if you know what I mean. So out of these 3 weapons, the M417A2, in my opinion, the one that benefited the most. The buff is clear, more obvious, and actually changes how viable it feels in real gameplay. Now, the rest of the rifles fall into this group: the AK205, the L8583, the SOR555 MK2, the M277, the QBZ192, and the LMG's L110 and the M123K. According to DICE, these weapons received recoil reduction, improvement in long-term consistency, or adjustments to recoil randomness, but honestly, after testing them today, they all felt pretty much the same to me. I didn't notice any meaningful changes or kind of clear buffs. Nothing that stood out, you know what I mean? And nothing that made me say, yeah, this weapon is definitely better now. That said, I'm still actively testing the rest of these weapons, and I'll also be covering the nerfed guns and the ones that receive the trade-off or neutral changes in the upcoming videos. So make sure to subscribe and turn on that bell notification, and stay tuned if you want to stay up to date with everything happening after Season 2 update. But as of right now, outside the 3 weapons I mentioned earlier, the recoil changes didn't really move the needle or make the rest of these guns feel noticeably better, at least not from what I've tested so far. Now I'm gonna go ahead and leave you with some gameplay of the new map Contaminated. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you guys think about these 3 guns that I mentioned, and let me know if you noticed some other gun that really actually got buffed. Up until the next one, cheers and have a good day.